This is a test. This is a test of, I'm going to type in the chat starting so that people know we're starting. Hi, everybody. You might have to refresh your screen. I noticed that I had to do that last time. Yeah, hi. Are you doing well? I hope so. Welcome to this English lesson about cool things. We'll get started in just a moment. I'm about a minute early, so I don't want to start the lesson before everyone is actually here. So we'll start in about 30 seconds. It's fun to see some familiar faces again in the chat. And I'm looking forward to doing this lesson on cool things. So once again, we'll start in about 15 seconds. So I did improve the audio quality mode on the software that I'm using. Let me just get everything in place here and then we'll start. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about cool things. Now, I do want to say at the beginning, this isn't a lesson about how I'm cool. I don't actually consider myself cool, but I do know that as a teacher, sometimes I observe what's cool each year at school, and it changes over time. It might be something related to fashion or things that students buy. So even though I'm not cool, I do feel like I'm a little bit of an expert on things that are cool because I am a high school teacher. So in this lesson, we'll look at about 25 different words. We'll talk about the things that are cool and how to describe cool things. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about cool things. Hey, before we get started, I just want to say hi. Hi to Hafiaz, Freddie Wolf, Garav, Ismail, Mode Ag, Wolfgang, Hite, Burgett, John Wedge, Minos Mill, Freddie Wolf, Makima, Wolfgang. This is a live lesson if you're watching it at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So welcome to this live English lesson. If you have a question during the lesson, there is a link in the description below that you can use to ask it. And then every once in a while, I'll put the questions up over here and I will answer a few of them. We'll be here for about 40 to 45 minutes this morning, maybe 50. It's a little bit of a shorter lesson. Jen and I do have to head out today for something that we need to do, a family matter. Sounds like everything's working really well. So maybe we should get started. Here we go. AirPods. So this is the first item because for some reason, wait, that's not the first item. Are all the items in the list? I hope so. Let me just check. We might have to, yeah, just give me a second here. I'm noticing, this is where, pause for a moment. Let me see here. I added the directory and I don't think it put everything from the directory in. So let me just double check and then we will restart the, where do I put those? There we go. Cool things. There's too many folders here. And then, okay. And then let's see what it did this time. That's weird. I'm going to add them individually. Give me one moment. And when I add the entire directory, it doesn't add all of them. So let's try this. Open. And then let me see if, yes, now we're ready. Here we go. Bling. Bling is something that is a word we use to refer to jewelry worn by men and women. And it's usually large and very visible jewelry. I don't wear any bling. I don't have any earrings. I don't wear a necklace. I wear a wedding ring and a watch. This doesn't quite count as bling. So bling would be when a guy wears many chains and has a bracelet and a really fancy watch and some nice rings, a man or woman. I tried when I was a teenager to wear a necklace, to wear a chain. There's two words for it in English, and it just bothered me. The same reason why I don't like wearing a necktie. I didn't like having a chain around my neck, but that's just me. Many people love wearing bling. They like rings and watches and bracelets and necklaces and earrings, but that's just not for me. But yes, an informal term for jewelry. Sunglasses or shades. I do wear sunglasses. I don't have mine with me right now, which seems kind of silly because this was why I made this lesson. In a comment on a previous video, someone said they really liked my cool sunglasses, and I thought I should do a lesson on cool things. Now, I should mention my sunglasses are actually from the dollar store. They cost me $3. And then I usually lose my sunglasses, so I only buy dollar store sunglasses because then when I lose them or sit on them, I'm not as sad. But shades would be kind of an informal slang term for sunglasses, like, hey, nice shades or cool shades. There are a few words that we use to talk about things that are cool or people who we think are cool. We might say they're trendy, we might say they're hip, or we might just use the word cool. We have a few phrases too, like wearing beanies is all the rage right now. That would be another term. But certainly when you are with a whole bunch of people, some people dress in a trendy way. They're aware of the different fashions and what's in style. So they are trendy. Some people are just hip. They just dress. I don't dress like these people, but these people are hip in my opinion. Especially the guy on the end with his bow tie. He is very, very hip looking. So these words all have similar meanings. And then when it's just fashion, when we're talking about fashion in particular, we use the term in style. A few years ago, pants with holes in them were in style. And now I think large pants are in style. I don't always know what's in style, but that is my understanding right now. So apparently jeans like this are in style, at least in North America. And then I mentioned ripped jeans. I do think these are still somewhat in style, but this might be what was cool in 2024. And maybe this is what's cool in 2025. This is what's trendy or was trendy last year. And maybe this is what's trendy this year. Again, Bob, the Canadian, is not the expert really to do a lesson on what is actually cool right now. But ripped jeans, I mean, this is the typical dad joke. I have ripped jeans. I made them myself. I just bought jeans and I wore them so long that they got holes in them. I do have a leather jacket. I didn't buy my leather jacket. It was a gift. And I do sometimes wear a black leather jacket. I don't think I've ever worn it in a video. I should have worn it this morning with my sunglasses, right? But maybe I will at some point. But a leather jacket, when I was a teenager, it was considered very, very cool. Now you might say it's just stylish to wear a leather jacket. There are people who, and some of you might feel this way, that don't think leather jackets should be made or worn because they're made from the skin of animals. But certainly leather jackets remain somewhat popular in the world. These are definitely popular. Running shoes, sneakers, trainers, tennis shoes, basketball shoes. There are a lot of different names for these types of shoes. These are Air Jordans, by the way. There are people who collect running shoes. Okay, I use the term running shoes. I'd be curious to know what other people use as a term. But running shoes are something that are considered cool, especially among teenagers and university students. It can be quite cool to have a certain pair of shoes that you wear. And then there's a term called the latest. And I put 3 dots there because it can refer to anything. Sometimes people want the latest phone. They want the latest computer. They want the latest watch or Fitbit or Apple Watch. They want the latest thing. So when you use the word the latest, it refers to the newest and most recent kind of something. Like he always has the latest Corvette. Like, I don't know if anyone buys a car every year. Maybe that's a bad example, but certainly phone is a good example. Every year he buys the latest phone. He always has the latest phone. He always has the latest watch from a certain company. And then AirPods. So these are basically wireless listening devices that go in your ear. If it's not made by Apple, we call them earbuds. But AirPods, in my opinion, are one of the things teenagers currently want to have because they like to listen to music, but they also know that you're cool, apparently. I use air quotes because I don't think buying something makes you cool, but teenagers do certainly feel like if they have AirPods, then their friends and classmates will think that they are cool. Okay, let's do some questions. Sorry for the little hiccup at the beginning there. If you're one of the 183 people watching, don't forget to click that red subscribe button and let me get to some questions. From Donna, how can I build up vocabulary? Thank you. This is not a plant. This question is a legit question. But Donna, if you look in the chat, there will be a link in a moment that says try my vocabulary app with a link. I am planning to build quite an extensive collection of vocabulary sets on that app that you can go and play. If you're a member, you have full access. If you're not a member, you can try out some of the free levels. But enough about me. In my opinion, the best way to build vocabulary is to read and to harvest words while you read. You can read at your own pace, and then when you find words you don't know, you can look them up and memorize them. There are many ways to learn vocabulary, but I would say that that's a great one, reading. Kurdish, hi uncle. If you had to pick one Canadian invention that changed the world, what would it be and why? For me, Canadians discovered insulin, in case you didn't know. I would say that's one. There's probably more than that, but that's the one that always comes to mind. It's what we learn about in school. I think is it Banting and Bess? Let's see if I remembered the lesson. Banting and Bess. Oh, Best. Yes. They discovered insulin for the first time. Yeah, at the University of Toronto, I think. So, yes, I think I would go with that one, Kurdish. From Takagero, hello, dear teacher Bob. I think you are the coolest YouTube English teacher of all. A little fix there, we would say of all. How is your plant that was in the corner of your cool room a few months ago? It is in the kitchen. It likes the kitchen better. It's going to stay in the kitchen. There's more light in the kitchen for it. And so it is doing well there. So we will leave it to there. Thanks for the question though. From Unsel. Hi, Mr. Bob. Looking back, do the things you used to think were cool still feel cool now or a bit embarrassing? A bit embarrassing. And how has your sense of cool changed over time? Thanks. So interestingly enough, my idea of being cool, my kids will only appreciate when they're older. Right now, the things I do that they don't think are cool, I think in 5 or 10 years, they'll think are really cool. And what I mean by that is making sure we have car insurance and making sure they know how to put air in a tire and all of the things a dad does. I think it's cool to teach my kids things. They think I'm a bit annoying sometimes, but I think someday they will think that is cool. From Judith. Hi, Judith. Hi, Bob. Would you find a bracelet cool on your wrist? So I think, first of all, even wearing a watch kind of bothers me, and having a wedding ring on, I'm not someone who likes having things on me. So I think that a bracelet would bother me. I don't think I would enjoy that bracelet. Oh, it's a little bit of an error here. Hi, Bob. What have you found cool about Jen when you first met? Thank you. Just 1 second here. I'm going to mute for a moment. There, I'm back. Hopefully that all worked properly. I just had a little sniffle. What I found the most cool about Jen is she liked me exactly the way I was. She didn't want to change anything about me. Sometimes when two people meet and they get together and become romantic partners, you naturally do want the other person to change a bit, but some people want that more than others. And Jen didn't. She liked me the way I was with all of my idiosyncrasies and quirks. There are 2 really good words for you. Next question from Lit or Cool. Do you think riding a unicycle over a crocodile pit while jumping through a ring of fire is a cool idea or a maniacal one? That's a little bit crazy. I certainly wouldn't do that, but I might pay to see it. Like if I went to the circus and someone was going to ride a unicycle over a crocodile pit while jumping through a ring of fire, I would probably want to see that, and I would probably really, really enjoy that. But I'm not going to do it myself. From Zeravan, I am very close to getting a new job due to my ability to speak English. It will be wonderful. Well, congratulations. That is awesome. Whenever I hear about viewers who have learned English to a level where it improves their life, like getting a new job or being able to study somewhere in a different country, I just think that is very, very amazing. Hafia says, yep, same. I don't wear a wristwatch because of the same reason. Yeah, not everyone likes jewelry and bling, right? Oh, hey, Brent's here. Hi, Brent. Good to see you. I'm just scrolling back through the chat. Brent says, a sneakerhead collects those types of shoes. Yes. And let me get to the next question. Unsel, me again. Is there something widely seen as cool that you personally never connected with? And on the other hand, is there something you consider truly cool and wish you owned? There's nothing, like I'm at the stage in life where if I suddenly had $100,000 to spend on something cool, I would not buy a sports car. I would renovate my house. I would fix up and improve my house because there are some areas that need some improvement. So for me at my age, in my early 50s, cool is when you have, when your house is fixed up and really, really nice. From Fritz. Hello, Bob. One very cool thing about Germany is the strong focus on sustainability and mindful living. Is it the same in Canada? It is. We are trying, but I would say not all Canadians are conscientious enough, in my opinion. Like we try to recycle, we try to compost and those types of things. But when I go for a walk, quite often the ditch along the road has a lot of garbage in it. There's a lot of litter. And so I do not think everyone is doing what they're supposed to do at this point. But it is cool. In my opinion, it is cool. From Lazy Mode. Hi, Mr. Bob. Do you think using swear words in English is considered cool? What's a more polite way to half blank something? Sorry, I hope my question doesn't get you demonetized. No, it won't. There is certainly a stage where teenagers, maybe preteens, and into your early 20s where it might seem cool to swear. And there are adults who swear, but I would think the cool factor is when you are a teenager, because you're kind of, you're not supposed to, but you're going to do it anyways kind of thing. So John Wedge says, I'm 41 and I think just like you, Bob. Yeah. Well, it's a good way to think. Keep everything fixed, keep everything in nice shape. A couple more questions and we will get back to the lesson. Sandy, hi, Bob. Thank you very much. I wonder how to improve listening of news channel like CNN. Watch your news on YouTube and watch your news with the player slowed down 10% and turn the subtitles on. After you're done watching the clip, turn the subtitles off, put it back to normal speed and watch it again. That's how I would improve listening to the news. From Ario. Hi, Ario. Hi, Mr. Bobby. How are you doing? How are things on YouTube? I had some cool stuff that I got for my birthday, little fixer, but they broke now. Oh no. Question, what is your take on the Nintendo Switch? My kids, even though they're older, want a Nintendo Switch too. And I said, you can buy one if you want. I'm not buying one for you anymore. You're on your own if you want something like that. Okay, let me just check something here and we will get back to the lesson in just a moment. Oh, it looks like everything's good. If you're one of the 211 people watching, don't forget to click this subscribe button. You will get notified when I make a new video. Yes, what do I do? Go back to the lesson now. Yes, let's do it. We did AirPods already. No, we didn't. We're in the right spot. Here we go. Vlogging. Now, I'm not sure if this is cool anymore, but when I started as a YouTube creator, there were a lot of people vlogging. Vlogging is when you take your camera and you record yourself by pointing the camera at yourself, and you talk to the camera while you walk around town or run errands or build a birdhouse or something like that. I think it's less popular now. I think that it was very popular in 2017, 2018. But it's probably something that people found a little hard to keep doing because you have to every day go out. Well, you don't have to do it daily, but you have to make content all the time about what you're doing. So vlogging, I would say, used to be super cool, and now it's a little bit cool, but not completely. Van life. This is certainly cool. I would say this is something that is very popular right now. Van life is when you decide that instead of living in a house, you're going to fix up the inside of a van as a small apartment on wheels, and you are going to just live in your van. I don't personally know anyone that lives in a van, but I do watch a few YouTubers like Foresty Forest, who is one of the van lifers out there in the world. So van life would be something that's cool and trendy right now. It has been for a couple of years, and it's not something that I'm going to do anytime soon. Jen jokingly said once that if my channel started to do poorly, I could always buy a van and do English lessons while living van life. But I don't think that doesn't interest me at all. But van life would be when you buy a van, you fix up the inside of the van, and you live in the van. So you don't have an apartment, you don't have a house, you live in a van. Vintage records. So these remain cool and popular in the world. Vintage records would be buying records instead of buying CDs, or instead of having Apple Music or Spotify or Google Music, you have a record player and you buy vinyl records. And if you buy old vinyl records, we would call them vintage records. Vintage refers to anything that is quite old, like vintage cars, vintage records, all of that kind of stuff. So definitely cool. I do have a friend who collects vintage records, and he really, really enjoys going to garage sales to look for vintage records. A beanie. I do not wear one of these. I have one, but it's not a beanie. I call it a toque or winter hat. A beanie is usually a bit thinner though. A beanie isn't necessarily to keep your head warm as much as it's a fashion accessory or a fashion statement. A fashion accessory is something you wear, like a lapel or a scarf or a tie. Those are fashion accessories. And when you're making a fashion statement, you're basically saying, I'm wearing this. I'm cool because I'm wearing this. Beanies are, of course, small hats like this one. Sometimes they're actually they don't have to conform to your head. They can be a little bit longer in the back. But I have seen more and more people wearing beanies in the last 10 years than I ever have in my life. Okay, this is the one that I think applies to all of you. I think speaking multiple languages is cool. One of the disadvantages that North Americans have, and this is true even in Canada, is that most of us only speak one language. Most Canadians and most Americans only speak one language. And even though in Canada we try to learn French, and in the US people try to learn Spanish or German or French as well in school, we really aren't bilingual as North Americans. I'm always jealous of my relatives from the Netherlands because they can speak Dutch and English. And if they live close to Germany, a little bit of German. I'm jealous of people who are fully bilingual because they live in a place where that's an advantage. In North America, we're not cool. Most people speak one language and that's it. So if you speak multiple languages, I think you're cool. I think that is a very, very cool thing to be able to do. Playing an instrument. There are some activities that are just cool. I do not play an instrument, but when someone plays the guitar, when someone plays the piano, when someone plays the cello or the violin, I'm a little bit jealous because I think it's so cool. Playing an instrument is cool. So once again, if you are someone who plays an instrument, I think you're cool. If you speak more than one language, I think you're cool. If you are someone who is good at playing an instrument, I think you are cool as well. And those are useful things that make you cool. Like a beanie doesn't make you useful. It might make you cool, but being able to speak more than one language, being able to play a musical instrument, that I think is cool and useful. Doing a backflip. So this was always the goal of my children when they were on the trampoline. Their goal was to learn how to do a backflip. A backflip is when you jump and then you rotate backwards. So you jump and then you flip back and you land on your feet again. And if you're really cool, you can do it just standing on the ground. But I think that's a lot harder. But doing a backflip is always considered cool at the high school where I work. And I think at every single high school, if there is a kid that can do a backflip, everyone thinks that is cool. The teachers, the other students, everyone thinks doing a backflip is cool. There was a time in my life where I thought having a motorcycle was cool. And I did actually own a motorcycle for 2 years. I had a Yamaha 400 Maxim red. And I did feel cool when I drove it. I'll admit it, when I had a motorcycle, it's probably the only thing I've owned in life that made me feel a little bit cool. This is not the motorcycle that I had. I had a much older and smaller motorcycle, but sometimes when you see someone driving a motorcycle, you might think, oh, that person is very, very cool. Sports car. So sometimes men my age in particular decide to buy a sports car because they're starting to not feel cool and they want to buy something that makes them feel cool. I would probably not buy a car like this. I've always said that if I had more money than I knew what to do with, I would buy a brand new minivan. But definitely, sometimes people will buy a sports car because the sports car is cool, but they also feel cool when they drive it, similar to the motorcycle. So sometimes people will buy something to make them feel cool, but the thing they buy is also cool. I think this car is cool. I don't think everyone who drives one automatically gets to be cool as well. And we talked a little bit earlier about the word vintage. So vintage is used to refer to anything that is old, and sometimes it would be something that is collectible. Sometimes people like to buy vintage video game consoles. They like to buy vintage cars, also called classic cars. Maybe they have a whole bunch of vintage stamps, like postage stamps that they found somewhere. So anytime we talk about something that is really, really old, and it usually has some value as well. Like if you have old video game systems that still work, you have vintage video game systems, you could probably sell them for a lot of money. Hey, let's do a few more questions and let me turn on members only chat. We're a little early, but as you might have recalled, I do have to keep this lesson moving along. I'm going to have a sip of water in a sec here. If you're one of the 243 people watching, don't leave because the lesson will continue in about 8 or 9 minutes. And then let me just mention why I think membership on my channel is a good thing. So if you just give me a moment, there are a number of things you get if you click the join button or the subscribe plus button below. First of all, it's $1.99 a month. You get a little Monday morning English lesson plan with some things you can try that week to improve your English. You get an extra video on Wednesday called Wednesdays with Bob. You get a short lesson as a YouTube short where I teach one English phrase. You get your name in green during a live stream. You get a little crown beside your name. You get access to my vocabulary app, which I am currently still working on, but you can try it out on the link that's going to pop up in a moment. And then just added this week, the day after my Tuesday lesson comes out, there are going to be 2 watch party opportunities where members can watch the video with me live and we pause and you can ask questions. We did that this week. It was very, very fun. And people, I think, really appreciated it. So I'm going to try and do one members only live watch party Wednesday morning for everyone in Asia and the countries where that works. And then another one late afternoon for people in Europe. So it will be the same, but I think people will certainly enjoy it. Anyways, enough about members. If you are a member, you can ask a question in the chat. Bob is too cool for school. Hey, Bob, I find it extra cool that you're doing a vocab app. I also find it cool that you're doing some reshuffling to your channel. You are amazingly cool. One of the things that you need to do in order to stay vibrant in a business or something like a YouTube channel is you have to make changes sometimes. So I've made a few changes this year, and most of those changes will benefit members. If you are not a member, nothing will change. Okay, all the videos on this channel will be the same. All the live streams will be the same, but I'm adding a few things. So yes, I've also been sitting around this summer waiting for this to heal. And that has led to me doing a lot of fun stuff on the computer, as most of you know. Lolly Lolly says, bonjour, Bob the Canadian. Bonjour, Lolly Lolly. Ismail, red Yamaha leather jacket and shades. Totally cool vibes, Bob. Maybe I was cool. I don't think I was. Hafiz, watch partay. So when you spell party like that, you usually say partay, like in a fun way. Bridget, unfortunately, the app doesn't work for me yet. Oh yeah, I replied to you. You have to look for the members only post and you need to get the access code. By the way, don't give the access code out, members. It will change every week in a bit. Let's see. Wanda, hi Bob. Hi teacher Bob. In our lesson today, why have you written AirPod with 2 capital letters? Is it 1 or 2 words? Thanks a lot. So my understanding is that AirPods, as indicated by Apple, the company that makes them, is to be spelled with no space and 2 capital letters. So that was what I'm just doing what Apple told me to do. Good question though. John Wedge. Hey folks, don't forget to give a thumbs up now. If you didn't yet, do it right now. Thanks, John. Gaurav says, good. Mode. Speaking English is cool in the moment. But when I think back on a conversation I had or listened to myself, I feel embarrassed most of the time. I guess that's similar to what Unsel said in his first question. So yeah, speaking a language, it's tricky, right? Just let me look here for a sec. I'm reading Unsel's first question. It's the hardest thing for me to get students to do in a classroom is to speak a foreign language. I teach French, but if I was teaching English, I'm sure I would have the same thing, but it just takes practice, and it's so nice to be able to do it around people you're comfortable with. Key Park says, I think Jen's gator is really cool. A gator is a small golf cart like video or vehicle, not video. And Jen uses one on the farm. If you watch her videos, if you search up My Flower Farm on YouTube, you'll find her channel. Yeah, she enjoys it. John Wedge, hey Bob, no question, just listening, learning, and having fun. Great to have you here. Freddie Wolf, people who buy many fancy things like cars, jewelry, and so on, we often say these guys are bling bling. Yeah, we might say someone is bling happy, or another phrase would be they have money burning a hole in their pocket. So when someone spends a lot of money, sometimes we'll say, man, that guy has money burning a hole in his pocket. Bridget says, I take the code, but I still a failure notice. Oh, Bridget, when you're in the app, go to the level you want to play, and there's a button there that will tell you to enter the code. So don't do it on the login screen. Use your own username and password to log in. And if you didn't create an account, you do have to make an account on the app first. Then once you're in, go to the app or go to the level that you can't play, and that's where you need to punch the code in. Ismail says, Bob, do you feel you have the same freedom to express yourself in French as in English? I mean, you can express everything the way you want. Non, pas du tout. C'est plus facile pour moi de parler anglais parce que quand je parle français, il y a des mots que je ne connais pas, des mots que je ne sais pas. Not sure which verb I was supposed to use there. Puis, oui, c'est plus facile de parler anglais pour moi. Yeah, it's subject related. If you needed me to talk about rocket science in French, I wouldn't be able to. But I can tell you about ignition and rocket fuel and all that kind of stuff. Okay. From Mode. Whoa, that's awesome that you play some instruments. I do have a guitar, but it's just sitting there collecting dust and making me feel guilty. By the way, how's the Cavincio different from the guitar? So who plays guitar? I missed that in the chat somewhere. Very cool. When someone can play an instrument. Let's see here. Questions. Judith. Hi, Bob. And what about the Flemish language? It is spoken in Belgium. It is the mix of English and French. They are not bilingual, but how would you call them? Is that not cool? I think any language is cool. I'm not super familiar with Flemish, but certainly there are a variety of languages around the world. I do like Belgium, though. I hope the people from France don't mind me saying this, but I also want to visit Belgium someday, the part where people speak French, and also Switzerland, the part where people speak French. From Victor, smart home systems are so cool. They make the house more convenient and fun. And you can set up automations however you like. Do you think smart home systems are cool? Yes, when they work, when all of the cool stuff, all of the cool technology works, I love it. When it doesn't work, then I get very, very frustrated, for sure. Bridget says, thank you, Bob. I know the mistake now. There you go. Ismail says, I don't understand French, but I love how it sounds when you speak it. That's one of the reasons I learned French is I just like how it sounds. It's very soothing when I hear French, for sure. Okay. From Malik. Hi, Bob. What are the other ways for me to speak more fluent English like Native Americans and Canadians? I can speak well, but I want to improve it more. I would find a tutor. I would use a place like Preply, or I would look for an English conversation group in your local town or city. But I would find as many ways as possible to engage in English conversations. From the chat, let's see here. John Wedge says the claviquino is a small instrument compared to a guitar, and its sound is also small. The frets for playing and playing notes are also smaller. Some friends play the claviquino. I have to look that up now. Freddie Wolf. Hey, Bob. I recently saw the past of the verb hang, hung, or hanged. Which past do you use in Canada, and what is the difference between them? Merci beaucoup. En reconnais-tu de suite les Belges? There we go. It was hanged. It was hung outside. I think I use hung. Like, he hung his clothes on the coat hook. I would say that. John, even the position of the fingers on the frets is different. So this must be like, I'll have to watch a video on this later. This question has come up before. Anderson, Bob, is this the coolest word in English? Can you pronounce it? Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. No, I can't. I can sort of pronounce, like sound it out. That's when you try to say all the syllables one at a time. But no, that's a tricky one for me. From Fada, what do you think of Jordan Peterson, Bob? I used to love him so much, but his stance on Gaza kind of ruined my esteem towards him. I don't have a lot to say about the people who become popular on the internet. I don't follow I make more stuff than I actually watch. So I don't really know enough about him to say anything other than I know he's very popular. So with some people. So, but yes, certainly strong political views can change people's opinions about things. Let me have a sip and finish the lesson. But before I do that, let me thank all of the people who are members. You guys are awesome. I am clicking the wrong buttons right now. Let's go back to subscribers. Why do I like members? I like members because I feel like just making videos isn't enough for all of you to learn English. And when members help fund my channel, it lets me explore doing other things like making an app to help you learn English or spending a little bit more time doing a couple members only live streams. So if you are interested, it's $1.99 a month. Click the join button or the subscribe plus button and decide if it's something for you. Here we go. Smart glasses. Will these ever be cool? So a number of years ago, Google came out with a pair of smart glasses and they weren't cool enough. Right now, Ray-Ban, I think, has a pair of smart glasses out that are a little bit more cool. But will smart glasses ever really be cool? I don't know. I think when they eventually look like a real pair of glasses, which they almost do now, they're very close, I think you will see more people wearing them. But certainly one of the first pairs had like a little screen that went in front of your eye. Not sure it was cool. Water bottle. This is one of the ones that I find interesting, but every year it seems like there's a new cool kind of water bottle that you need to buy in order to feel cool or be cool. I don't do this. At school, I take a mug and I fill it up from the tap, but there are a lot of people who have a cool water bottle. I think they have an Awala water bottle right now. It used to be Visco. Don't quote me on the names, but it can be cool to have a water bottle. What I do know is that 15 years ago, no one had a water bottle. I think maybe we were all dehydrated, possibly, but it's certainly cool right now to have a water bottle if you're a teenager or a university student, or even as an adult. A Bluetooth speaker. So a Bluetooth speaker is a small speaker. By the way, a water bottle keeps your water cold and it allows you to carry water throughout the day and keep it cold. So it is pretty cool. A Bluetooth speaker lets you play music out loud. So here's what I have found interesting is that when I was a teenager, people bought radios that we called boom boxes, and they played loud music. But also people were starting to buy Sony Walkmans, and they were starting to listen with headphones. And then for a long time, it was cool to use headphones, and then now AirPods or earbuds. But lately, it's become cool again to have a Bluetooth speaker and play your music loudly for everyone to hear. So I don't know if you have one. Jen has one that she uses when she goes out to the field. I would say when I'm at school as a teacher, I probably see 10 Bluetooth speakers a day where students just have it, and maybe during their lunchtime they play some music. So Bluetooth speaker, a speaker that is rechargeable. You can connect it to your phone via Bluetooth, so wirelessly, and you can play music. Fidget spinner. This is no longer cool. This was cool like 12 years ago. Some people still have them. It's something that you can spin. It's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It just spins for a very long time. And we actually have a few, because during the fidget spinner craze, that's how we would describe the time when everyone loved fidget spinners, we bought some for our children. But I don't see them very much anymore, once in a while, but they were certainly very cool a long time ago. A beanbag chair. This is not something I own, but I do wish we had one. This was cool when I was in university, and I think it probably still is cool for university students. A beanbag chair is a chair filled with actual beans, possibly, or styrofoam fake beans. And it's a chair it's kind of moldable. Like when you sit in it, it will mold to your body if you wiggle around, and they're very comfortable. Jen had one when we got married. When she was in university, she had one, and then it eventually broke. It was smaller than that one, but it was certainly very cool. And then what else is cool? Anything made by Apple. Now, I'm not saying everything made by Apple is cool. They do make some cool stuff though. But as I look around me at work, I notice that probably more than half, if not 3/4 of the students, when they buy a phone, they buy an Apple phone or an iPhone. A lot of them have AirPods. A lot of them have, well, not a lot. Some have Apple Watches. We don't see a lot of iPads at school. A lot of them have MacBooks. Their computer will be a MacBook, but certainly at this point in the world, Apple makes some pretty cool stuff. I will give them that. They make some pretty reliable stuff, and a lot of people think their products are cool. A lot of you are probably watching this on an iPhone right now. So anyways, thanks Apple for making cool products. And I'm sure the people who like them think they're very cool. Hey, that's the end of the lesson, but not the end of the questions. We'll do them in a minute. In the chat, Mode says, is this coming from John Harris's latest video? Oh, Brent, what did Brent say? I forgot, I missed his comment there. It was about water bottles. I totally agree. North Americans are now obsessed with our hydration. It's kind of a meme. Yeah, and then Johnny Harris makes some pretty in-depth, cool videos. So Mode's asking about, is it coming from Johnny Harris's latest video, which I haven't watched, but I'm sure it's interesting. I'm hydration obsessed in the summer, Brent. When it's hot outside and I'm working outside, I like drinking lots of water. Okay, let's do some questions and we'll wrap this up. From Leoka, hi, what are the top 3 best pieces of advice you can give to an intermediate learner who wants to quickly master professional English? Get a tutor. That would be my number 1 recommendation. It's not super expensive. It will cost money. There's a link in the description below to a place called Preply. There are other places as well where you could find one, but I know having a tutor is more than just the tutor. Like when I had a tutor for French, it increased the amount of time I spent working on my French language skills outside of the time I was with the tutor, because I wanted to show the tutor I was improving. So get a tutor. That would be my number 1 recommendation. Fado, speaking of water bottles, you guys use flask or thermos more often? So there's water bottles and there's also like travel mugs. I think Stanley. That's who it was. Stanley was like the one to get a year ago. Is that what it was? Let me check here. Stanley water bottle. Yeah, it had a handle on it, I think. So anyways, what's sad about the water bottle phenomenon is at the end of the school year, there is a lost and found table, and there's lots of very expensive water bottles on the table. Bridget says, the coffee to go in your own cup also seems to be cool. Yes, that is very common here as well. You can get your own cup refilled when you buy coffee at various coffee shops. And I think that's just a good thing to do. It's good for the environment. It's good all around. Mode says, I'm sorry, but I need to go now. Thanks everyone for watching and thanks for the chat. Don't forget to give this cool guy a thumbs up, eh? Thanks, Mode, for the compliment at the end there. But I hope you have a good day, Mode, wherever you are off to. Okay, I think I'm just going to scan the chat. If you do have a question, ask it. I got about 5 minutes yet. Let me get the link in the chat for you for a sec, and then let me just read through the chat to see if there's anything I want to respond to. Figlio, do you love your significant other? For V-Day, give him her with a jewelry. It costs more or less like an Apple device, but it lasts much longer. Yeah, that's true. A diamond is forever. That's what all of the jewelry stores say. But an Apple Watch is for 3 years, maybe 4. Ario is grateful for my English. Now I'm able to speak casually about family topics with friends. Very cool. And now waiting for the release of Spider-Man. Yeah, I have a kid waiting for that too. Okay, let me check the forum. I don't think there is another one. We're going to wrap this up, everybody. Hey, if you're one of the 235 people watching, don't forget that this lesson will be edited. It will be about 20 minutes long, and it will come out with no viewer questions, and it will be just a pure lesson. Your job is to listen to that lesson again or watch it again, because when you do things more than once when you're learning English, it's just helpful for you. So you can listen to it while you're on the subway, while you're cooking. You can watch it again. You can go back and look for the things you didn't quite understand, and that video will have subtitles. Turn them on, and then just listen again and improve your English. Anything else that I can assign to you? No, but please do consider becoming a member. There's a join button below. Please do come Tuesday to watch the next lesson. I think it's going to be a good one. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I'm excited to put it together. Anyways, thanks to all of you for watching. Big thank you especially to our members. You guys honestly help fuel this channel and make it work. Okay, it allows me to set the time aside I need to produce YouTube content. So thank you members for doing that. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, it's a shame we didn't have Bob as our English teacher. When we started learning this language, we would be way better in English speaking. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure because I'm not going to compliment myself, but thank you for the compliment. Anyways, Bridget says, thanks a lot for your lesson and your help regarding signing into the app. No problem. And I'm just going to say bye to everybody. Bye to Ismail, Lolly Lolly, Cat Diary, Hite, John Wedge, Victor, Vitor, Sai Sandy, Hafiez, Key Park, Mode Eggs left already. American English with Brent is here. Freddie Wolf. And then I'll just say bye to whoever says bye in the chat for the next minute and then wrap this up. Bye to Sadiq. Sadiq Academy. Bye to you as well. Bye to Lolly Lolly. Bye to Wanda Prado. Bye to Bienvenue. Bye to Freddie Wolf and Gaurav. And bye again to Bridget. Bye to Unsel. Nice to see you again, Unsel. And oh, you know what I forgot to do? Don't leave if you're here. Here's what I forgot to do. I forgot to do this. I was going to buy a membership during every live stream for someone. So here we go. I am buying a membership for someone. It is happening right now, and it's going to be in the chat. I was going to do that halfway through. It's a new routine. So I have given a membership to Juan, just received a gift membership from me. So thank you for sticking around for that. Maybe I should do it at the end because people would stick around then, but that's okay. Anyways, 10 a month. I'm allowed to do 10 a month, I think. So 1 per live stream, and then every once in a while I'll do 5. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to go to my outro screen, which has no music yet, but eventually it will have music. So have a good weekend. Make sure you watch this again in a couple days, and I'll see you Tuesday with a new video. Bye.